Hey, Doug Phillips. Welcome back to my channel. So today, this video is another continuation in the series about my trading bot, my C# Algo trading bot that I wrote using TD Ameritrade's APIs. And then also, Windows, or not Windows.net, but Microsoft.net in C# to write a Windows form application. So when the bot takes a trade, I add it to what's called my active trades record or active trades table, okay? And after the trade is there, I know that TD Ameritrade has filled it. There's a buy order there. Well, I want to grab that buy order from TD Ameritrade, and I want to update my active trades record. And then as the bot runs every minute or every 5 minutes for its tick, I want to go out there to TD Ameritrade's website and grab any new orders because I've already got the buy order now, but now I want to try to get the sell order possibly. Or if it's still open, I want to be able to update the stats and the prices that I've got to know whether my profit or loss. Am I profitable in the trade right now? Is it just kind of hanging out there, or has it closed and I'm out of the trade? All right, so I'm showing TD Ameritrade's website right now for the APIs. And the API that I'm using for getting my orders is the one that's called Get Orders by Path. And you're getting the orders for a specific account. And as you can go down through here, you can see the JSON data over here, which I'll show you in just a second. But you can see the query parameters where you can get the results, the from time, and then what your status is. So I want filled orders for the most part. That's what I'm looking for. But you can get other statuses also. And then, you pass your token along with it before you make your request. Now let's jump over to look at the actual JSON data that gets returned. But this is the beginning of the JSON data for the buy order, okay? And I'm not going to scroll down and show you everything because it does show, my account number and stuff like that. So, but you can get a gist of it right here. I mean, this is the header record or the order record, and then you start getting into the child records down below, like the order leg collection, stuff like that. It starts getting into those child orders. But as you can see here, I mean, it's just standard JSON data. But I do encourage you to use a converter if you're going to C# from JSON to C#. Go out to the website that I showed you before and go convert that yourself, or let them convert it and you copy and paste it, because trying to type this up and by hand and stuff like that gets tedious. It'll be much faster for you if you use the JSON to C# converter, okay? So hey, before we jump into the code, if you would, smash the like button down below. Give me a thumbs up on the video, and I'll keep creating these things. But small YouTuber, we need all the help we can get, right? So now that you've seen the orders, now I'm going to show you what I'm using to get those orders from TD Ameritrade, okay? So I'm returning them as a string, as a list of string, because there's going to be multiple orders coming in, multiple fields. So I'm going to want to loop through those before I add them to my database, okay? So, I'm pulling in the trade account. How many days back am I going to grab? How many minutes back? Because if I'm trying to grab this on the weekend for the previous week, then granted, okay, I want the last 5 or 7 days worth of data. But if this is running as part of my every tick or every minute or 5 minutes, then that's what I want to do. I only want to go back every 1 minute or 5 minutes because I don't want to pull every order. I want to just pull the last ones, okay? So as you see here, I'm creating my lists of the different model objects, and I'm going through here. And, in other videos I've talked about where I check my access code, I check my authentication code with TD Ameritrade every time I send off a call to TD Ameritrade, because that authentication code can expire in the middle of my routine running. So I want to check for an expired token. If it's expired, I want to go out and grab a new one real quick and then continue on where I left off, okay? So that's all I'm doing right here is as I'm checking the token, and then I'm assigning that to the client. And then I'm going through and I'm setting up my time that I'm going far back to pull orders from TD Ameritrade, okay? Sorry, my throat's messing up. So let me say that again. I am setting up the date time of how far back I want to go to grab orders from TD Ameritrade, whether it's going to be that 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 7 days. Okay, that's all I'm doing right here. Now, after I do that, I'm going out there and I'm getting orders for a single account. In other words, I'm not pulling multiple accounts. I'm only pulling my account, and that's what I want. Okay, and then I'm returning that data. Now, if I get good data back, which if my token's good, my date time's good, I've set up the call good, I should get data back, right? I should get JSON data back. And in another function where I'm actually returning that call, I'm deserializing that data. So my data object right here is the deserialized JSON object. It is now in that list, or string list, okay? So what I'm going to do here is, I'm just pulling my account number, making sure that they're syncing up, they're the same. But what I'm going to do from there is, now I'm going to break apart that data object into its separate model object that I showed you just a few minutes ago, okay? And I'm going to create a new order from that. Not a new order on TD Ameritrade side, but a new order within my orders table. So a new record in my orders table, okay? And basically I'm just going through that, and if I find the object, then if I don't find it, then I'm going to add that new order. But if I do find it, then I just want to update it, okay? And I'm not going to show you that code. It's just tedious code right there. That's all it is you're just assigning items to items. So don't want to waste your time with that. So, like I said before, if I find the order in my database, I just want to update it, okay? Because maybe something's changed on it. Maybe some shares filled more, or maybe the status has changed on it, stuff like that, okay? So anyways, after that, I want to start saving the orders, okay? So after I've got this order object set up, or the list, I want to go save them. And I'm doing this as a bulk save, not one at a time. So, personally to me, it's a faster to do a bulk upload of records than it is to go one by one, okay? It's less calls to the database, less calls to the disk, because the database is on the disk or on their hard drive, right? So right now everything's running in memory, which is so much faster than trying to write to the disk. Now, with flash drives though, it doesn't take as long anymore. Not like it used to with the old spinning drives. But still, memory, flash memory is just as fast now as your flash hard drives. But I just come from old school. I want to do a bulk upload. Okay, so coming through here now, the order of the child and the parent though, you have to save the parent before you can save the child. That way the foreign keys sync up with each other, okay? So that's all I'm doing is I'm coming through here and I'm looping through these and then saving those orders, okay? I mean, this isn't something that none of us haven't done before. I mean, this is all commonplace stuff, right? So. And then I'm just logging it down below, if there's any errors, then I'm logging those. But anyways, that right there is the routine. So up on my screen here, I've got the function that's Active Trades update from orders. And one of the things I'm going to do is the minute I open that Active Trade is I'm going to wait till the next tick and then try to pull the orders down from TD Ameritrade's API and get the JSON object, and then deserialize it, and then pull it into, or massage it and basically put it into my database, okay? Or update the record in the database. So right here, I'm grabbing active trades, so anyone I've got open right at this point in time, and then I'm gonna start looping through those, okay? Now, once I do that, I'm gonna immediately go find the buy order for the trade that I'm looking at, okay? So the symbol, open date, more than likely it's gonna be today. It should be today, and then the number of shares. That way it gives me a better chance of finding the correct order from TD Ameritrade, especially when I've got multiple bots going, or I've done maybe an order through Thinkorswim or something like that. That way I'm only looking for this bot's order to match it up with that active trade, if that makes sense. So let's jump over there real quick. So one of the comments I made in here are that the buy orders are in the orders table and that any other orders are in the child orders table. So if you've ever looked at the JSON object for TD Ameritrade for the orders, it has a parent-child relationship, and the child can get really tricky at some one point in time. So, and actually, let's talk about that real quick, because in other videos I've mentioned the JSON objects, but if you do not have your model correct, so like let's look over here at TD Ameritrade. So orders complex. If you don't have your model correct for the JSON object, it's not going to import correctly. It's not going to deserialize correctly. So you really want to make sure that you have your model object based upon that JSON data coming from, or that JSON schema coming from TD Ameritrade. You want to make sure that you got it spot on, correct, 100% correct. So one of the things I did is I was having trouble with some code that I'd copied for the models, because either TD Ameritrade made a change or maybe the other developer didn't get something correct. I don't know. But regardless, whatever. I was not getting deserialized JSON data correctly. I kept getting errors in my code, and it would stop, it'd bomb out, and I'm just like, what the crap is going on? So I went to TD Ameritrade's API website. I entered the information in the form, and I grabbed the JSON data, and I copied and pasted that into a website called json2csharp.com. Once I did that, it was pretty apparent what the issue was with the model objects in the class. And I basically just replaced what I had with what I'd gotten from json2csharp.com, what their output had given me, okay? So just that little tidbit, I hope that helps you. But I would definitely use this website in the future if you can, okay? So let's go back over to my code, okay? Now, like I said, I'm finding the symbol, when it was added, the number of shares, and of course I've got my logging in there, which the logging is part of another video if you want to go watch it. But I want to grab the last 5 orders for that symbol from my database, okay? So I've got a routine out there that is going and it's downloading orders. Every time this thing fires off, it's going to check TD Ameritrade for new orders, okay? And now I need to match that up. The date, okay? Now, I don't know the exact date, and because of the way the order fills, when I sent the order into TD Ameritrade, it may not be the exact timestamp down to the millisecond as what TD Ameritrade has. So I need to create a buffer zone, okay? So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm taking the date that I'm passing in and I'm adding ticks to it, okay? So if you're not familiar with the modulus or remainder, you can go look it up. But basically, the deal is with it, real quick. All right, x equals 5. And we'll say that y equals 2. It should make it simple enough, okay? So 5 divided by 2 is going to equal 2 dot something, okay? Well, what the modulus does is, I don't want this 2, like 2 times 2 equals 4. So 2 times 2 equals 4, and that's going to leave a remainder of 1. That 1 is what it's grabbing, okay? So this calculation right here, that's what it's grabbing, is what that remainder is, the difference between the add date ticks and ticks per second, which is, you know, 1 million. So, and then I'm subtracting that from my add date. So I'm subtracting that from the add date plus what my add date is, and that gives me that little buffer there, okay? And then I'm removing seconds, okay? So, and I'm giving it a 28-second buffer on each side. So between those, adding the ticks and adding the seconds, now I've got, you know, what says 28-second. I've almost got a minute buffer. It's just under a minute, okay? Now, The reason why I did that is because of this right here, okay? Back in November when I was testing with this, I could not get the correct order based upon exact time. Because like I said before, my time may be different than what TD Ameritrade has, even down to the seconds or milliseconds, okay? It could be off a little bit, so I couldn't use exact time. The other thing was, let's say that my bot runs every minute. And let's say that I've got a stock that it's getting really volatile. And maybe it's normally not as volatile, but it's jumping up and down. So I enter my buy order and it's filled immediately. And then before my next tick fires off, the sell order is filled immediately. So within that amount of time there, I now have the buy order and the sell order and the position's gone. Now, according to my code, it's looking to see if a position is no longer in the positions table to therefore kick off, oh, wait a minute, this position's already been closed, blah, blah, blah. Let's start all, grabbing the transaction data, all this kind of stuff, and start figuring out profit and loss. The problem is it was skipping steps. So it was skipping looking for the orders first and dealing with that and updating the data, the records that need to be updated. And it was immediately going to close the position. And therefore things were totally syncing up and causing the application or the bot to crash, okay? So the bot wouldn't totally crash. I was trapping some of the errors, but it wouldn't take new trades because it thought the capital was already being used with another open active trade, okay? I've got an open trade, the PCG I've got open right now, and in this example, and now I'm gonna go find those orders, okay? So I've already pulled from the database a find orders object, okay? And I'm making sure that it's not null, that it's got more than one record in it. And now I'm gonna go start searching for that. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for a status of filled, because not all orders are filled. And that's one of the things you're going to have to take into account for is you could have an order that's being sent, a buy order or an entry order being sent into TD Ameritrade, and your bot or your program thinks it's been filled and it hasn't been. Maybe the price jumped up too quickly or whatever else, or maybe that your broker, TD Ameritrade, rejected the order. So I've had that happen before. And one of the things that you're going to have to watch this from time to time, or you're going to have to find some way to air trap it, is I go long, so my buy order is filled, but then my trailing stop or my stop order or whatever is rejected. And I've had that happen in such that, let's say that I buy a stock at $10, and by the time that the stop order is actually filled in, the thing has already dropped below what my stop order would have been. I mean, it tanked, the big waterfall, gone. So therefore TD Ameritrade rejected the stop order, didn't fill it. They rejected it because it was the price difference was too much. So you have to be aware of that when that happens. Now, for my personal self, when that happens, I have a ding or a bell that goes off on my program that alerts me immediately. And it's not really a bell, it's a foghorn actually, that when it happens, I know to go in there and check it real quick, okay? Or clear it out. So just be aware of that, okay? Now, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna find the order and it's filled. Hopefully I found the order, okay? If I didn't find the order, then I've got to, like I said, I've got to trap that, okay? So, but as long as it does not equal null, then I'm going to grab that and I'm going to write that out to the console, but I'm also going to log the entry to my application log, okay? So once I find the order, I'm going to return that result. Okay, so back into my main function again. So active trades, update from orders, okay? So now we found the order and we're returning it. And now that we've returned it, I'm looking for certain information in it, okay? Because I don't want to update the active trade if that information is not there, okay? So like the broker ID, my average price, because maybe the price that I sent in is not the price at what it filled at. So I want the fill price of of the order. So that way that my profit loss calculations will be that much more spot on. Okay. I also want to know the fill quantity, because I've run into that before where I've gotten partial fills. So I haven't really get the partial fills, but I haven't really, I don't know. I need to add some more code to make it a little bit more fluent with what it does. So, but I am updating my active trade record with the filled quantity. Okay. And then I'm getting the average cost, because, you know, if it is a partial fill, I only want to get what the filled quantity was. I don't want to do what I initially sent in as part of my buy order. And then I'm updating the active trade. Okay. Now, once I update the active trade, I've also got another table, which is my trade blotter. And I've covered that in another video also. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to update it also with the information I just pulled from the buy order from TD Ameritrade's API. Okay. Because I want that data. This trade blotter data will be the hard history data. Active trades, that table never has any more records in it than what is active at that moment in time. Open positions, open trades. Okay. Whereas my trade blotter is my history database, my history table. Okay. So I want to update that. That way that the buy side will be correct when I have the sell side, and I can mirror those two things up. Okay. And then, you know, I'm catching any errors, like I said before, and then I'm moving on to the next one. Okay. Anyways, if you hit the like button below, if you like the video, definitely hit the subscribe button and the bell beside it. That way you get a notice every time I release a new video. But hey, thank you for watching, and good luck with your trades.